Welcome to another unboxing from theplayersaid.com. I'm Grant. Today I'm taking a look at a brand new game off of the GMT P500 called At Any Cost, Metz 1870. This game covers some of the very last battles in the Franco-Prussian War of the 1870s involving France and Prussia. You know, those French and Germans hate each other. The game is designed by Hermann Luttmann, and at this time in the world, you got to remember the U.S. Civil War had ended, and those Neapolitan techniques of lining up in nice, tidy formations, charging and firing were still being used, but advances in technology, rifled muskets, heavier gauge artillery, etc., was making that form of battle obsolete because loss of life was extremely high. In fact, as many of you know, I believe in the U.S. Civil War, more life was lost than the entirety of World War II. Lots of that was because of the types of wounds, the lack of sanitation, the lack of proper medical care. But this game uses those same Napoleonic tactics as the wars in the world start to change. But once again, designed by Hermann Luttmann. Recently, I've played several Hermann Luttmann designs. Dawn of the Zeds is one from Victory Point Games that we've enjoyed considerably. It's a co-op game. I've also played Attack of the 50-Foot Colossi, 1914 Race to the Sea. And then we've talked to Herman about other games. I think we did an interview. I can't remember what game it was, but very interested in this game. And I know that this game has kind of been taking a long time to get to this point. So it's, once again, brand new off the P500. I think it started shipping literally last week, and I got mine just the other day. It comes in GMT's 2-inch box. These are not my favorite boxes. Typically, they use the smaller 2-inch boxes that are thinner. And what I mean by that is the cardboard is less thick. I really enjoy the 3-inch boxes. But they use these 2-inch thinner cardboard boxes when you don't have heavy mounted maps. And this game does not have a mounted map. It is a paper map, but a well-done paper map. So there's a look at the cover art. Really nice use of historical paintings on the wars and the battles themselves. There you can see the Iron Cross for Prussia and the two countries' flags, the French on the left and Prussia on the right. Nice looking box. GMT always does a great job. Roger McGowan with RBM Studio is their lead and does a fantastic job. Baggies, love baggies. I will most likely use a tray. There are about 3 counter sheets, I think 2 or 3 counter sheets, so there are a lot of counters. One of my favorite parts about the GMT games are you get this note telling you who packed the game. Really like that, nice touch. Doesn't change the game or the gameplay itself, but it is a nice touch. The game comes with 4 10-siders. You have a gray, a red, and then 2 that are white. Love dice. Can never have enough dice. Let's take a real quick look at the rule book. It's pretty hefty. 28 pages front to back. Pretty dense. There are some good graphics that illustrate the points that they're trying to teach. But yeah, you can see very text dense, very dense text. Here's a look at the sequence of play. Sorry. Broken down there. I'm sure the player aids have that. I see the player aids coming up. But the different rules, pretty standard warfare type rules with movement, those kinds of things. Overnight turns, dusk. And then they have a kind of an example of play. Probably go through a couple of rounds. You can see here, I'll give you a close-up look at that. Here's an example of, I think, some attacks and movements before that combat. But there's about 4 pages that show you some examples of play. I think that's important. I always try to read those over to get a very good understanding of the game before I play it. Alexander is our rules person. He does a great job with rules, and I am more than happy to oblige him and allow him to read those rules. I'm okay with that. Thanks, Alexander. By the way, there are many player aids. There are 6 player aids here. They are front and back. Let's go ahead and check them out. It looks like this player aid is the CRT. You can see there's a look at the combat results table. Haven't really studied this at all. Then you flip it over, and there's more results. So that says strength points firing if you read closely on the very top. And then this one says assault differentials. So yeah, it looks like the odds are calculated based on a differential between your firing points. So if the attacker maybe has 8 and the defender only has 3, that means the attacker is +5. You will refer to the +5 table. So here's some other elements that give you column shifts. There's some other from break tests, whether men break or become demoralized. So yeah, but there are 2 of those, one for each player. So I'll put those aside. Then we have a couple of player aids that appear to deal with the different nationalities' event chits. Here you have the French event chits, and here is one looking at the Prussian event chits. We'll get to those here in a moment. But these are chits that I'm assuming you're going to draw and then react by reading what result happens, and then you're going to execute that on the battlefield. Here is the back of those event chit, has the sequence of play, Fortunes of War. Once again, don't exactly know what that is. Terrain effects chart, which is good. Out of command, consequences, so basically out of supply, out of command. And then postures, whether you're moving, firing, charging, engaging, etc. So yeah, there are different effects for both of those. Love the Prussian soldier there. That's a really neat looking. And then here's a French soldier. Very nice touch. So there are those. Here are the last 2 player aids. They look like the scenario. Yeah, they are the scenarios. So this one says a beckoning victory, and it gives you the details of the scenario, the historical detail, as well as when you're going to draw random event chits. That's nice. Here you're going to, there's your victory point track. I'm assuming they tell you where units are setting up, or maybe that's in the rules. But anyway, these are different scenarios. So here are 2 more on the back. The Afternoon Crisis and Twilight of the Guards. And then here is an entire additional set of scenarios. A Day of Battle there at the top. Bloody Thursday at the bottom. It will cost what it will. So it appears that there are 6 scenarios, which that's great. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 that are more introductory, so you can get a feel for the game. We always try to play those first, obviously, and then we'll dive into a bigger scenario. But I know this one is well anticipated. I know I've been interested in it for a while. Don't know that I've played many games on the Franco-Prussian War, but that's okay. I enjoy new challenges, and I enjoy new conflicts. I mentioned there were 3 or 4 counter sheets. It appears that there are only 2. There's a playbook at the bottom there too. Wow. Here's a look at some of these counters. Man, those are cool. These are the French here on the left. Really nice looking. You can look at the different artilleries. You got some cavalry here. Let's flip those over. Looking at the cavalry. I'm going to turn them upside down. Sorry, I know you may be getting sick, but those cavalry are pretty sexy. Wanted to show you the back sides of them. On the other side, you have the Prussians. There's a Prussian cavalry. Get that in focus. There's some infantry and artillery. Really nice looking counters. Well done, Roger. Yeah, look really great. There's quite a few of them too. It's going to take a lot of clipping, and these are going to punch right out. I can already tell they're very well punched, very well struck with the die. A lot of administrative counters here. Nothing too exciting. Nothing to see here. Move on. These are some of the different events, I'm assuming. Krupp's guns, command initiative, battlefield conditions. Maybe those are things you track throughout the different scenarios. These are the different chit pulls to activate divisions, etc. Those are going to be put into a cup and I believe activate units as you move through battle. Yeah, those are really nice looking counters. Excited. I think that's a really great looking game. Let's go ahead and get the map out here, and it's a big one. Let's make a little bit of room. Really big map. But it's a paper map. I am totally okay with paper maps. I like mounted maps. But to be honest, there's a cost to mounted maps. Mounted maps require a bigger box. They take up a lot more room. They're nice, don't get me wrong. Mounted maps are really great. But you can see as I fold that one out, this is a huge map. Really interesting color scheme. Very mute tones of brown, green, tan, cream, etc. Different types of terrain. I'm going to go ahead and lift this up rather than move my camera. You can see the relief of trees there. There's a creek, some more trees. Terrain is very evident with marks. So you can see where there's points of elevation. Here are the roads. So there are a lot of roads on that map. Let's go ahead and move and look down here in the corner. Sorry. Here are units eligible for rebuilding and eliminated units from the game. Here is the turn marker, the campaign day. So yeah, nice looking map. I think it's well done. I think it stands out pretty well and evokes what it is that the game is about. We'll go ahead and throw those back on there so you can get a better look at the counters there as we kind of finish up. I did want to do the playbook. Very thick playbook. Playbook is 32 pages, so it's actually longer than the rule book. So here in the playbook, you're going to get a lot more detail on each scenario. Yeah, here's setup. So for instance, here's one of those scenarios, Twilight of the Guards. You're going to have the setup information there. Here's the OOBs here in the top left. Let me go ahead and find that card just to do a comparison. I think it's just a summary of the different issues. Twilight of the Guards. Sorry. Well, I'm not finding it. Anyway, playbook, lots of information there for each of the scenarios. They've got specific scenario rules, and then there's about 8 pages worth or 10 pages worth of designer notes. I love playing war games. One of the reasons is I learn a lot about history. Don't know much about the 1870 Metz campaign. But in about 30 minutes, I'm going to read these 10 pages, and I'm going to learn a heck of a lot more about it. We always like to read those and learn. That's why I love playing CDG games, card-driven games, because you have a lot of events that are going to help you learn the game as well. So there's a look at that. Once again, 1870 Metz from GMT Games. Great looking game. Very excited about this one. I think it's going to be fun to play. So let me know what you think about the video. If you enjoy our channel, please subscribe. We continue to do a lot of unboxings as we get new games. We go in kind of bursts. We do get some games free from different publishers. Some we buy. Some we trade for on different forums. We try to get a lot of new games to get a lot of different experiences and different types. So this is definitely a hex encounter war game. Does a chit pull system. There are random event chits that are pulled that are going to affect the game. Looks like there's a little bit of strength point and fire differential that's used for the CRTs looks pretty standard, uses D10s. I always like war games that use D10s because they're different than six-siders. So there's a look at Any Cost, Metz 1870, designed by Herman Luttman. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.